Okay, so we're gonna talk about how we do an investment when we sit down with a client. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so this presentation is pretty much the same thing when somebody has $100 and somebody has $100,000. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so I want you to learn it so that way that when you get to the point when you are investment licensed, well, I want to encourage you to get investment license because it opens up doors to have other types of conversations,
Mm-hmm.
right? Overall, you're gonna learn more and you'll become a bigger professional in your field,
Mm-hmm.
and two, you're just gonna make more income. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I bring in more money because of this. I get paid residuals every single month because I have an investment license, and that has been paying me for years now, and it's gonna continue to pay me for years. I'm having a conversation with a good friend of mine who makes $400,000 a year. He's out of Eau Claire, Wisconsin. He takes on. He's a master at this. He takes on $1 million deals every single month. $1 million deals, right? I'm like, man. I said, you do what you do in a month. I haven't done in my career yet, Mr. Jeremiah.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, it's okay, you'll get there, right? And I'm like, okay, perfect. So same thing I'm telling you, you'll get there. You'll learn and you'll get better, but you need to first one get licensed, and then two just learn a simple presentation, and the presentation is this, right? I use this little pamphlet that just lays out a little structure that allows you to be able to present it over to a client, where there's the chances you messing up are very low. Will you mess up? Yes, right? Before you're good, you have to suck. So you're gonna suck. Just know that, okay? And be okay with it. But it's a pamphlet called the 3Ds of investing, and it just lays out how somebody should invest their money over time. It's this Franklin Templeton is a company that has almost $1 trillion under management, so it has a humongous amount of people's money, and they're a very successful company that partners with Primerica to help clients out. But we're gonna start off, okay? So when I get into this thing, right, there's a concept that I cover with people, right before getting into it. Something I like to cover with clients is this, right? I ask them this: what's your understanding of investing, Mr. Devin? What's your understanding?
To
What
a
do you know about
degree,
it?
it could be like stocks or just having money put aside that works for you instead of you working for it. So like when you sleep, money could be generated. That's
Okay.
it. You know,
That,
it's like flipping it in a way.
okay, so that's your understanding of investments.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha, perfect. And everybody's gonna give you their own point of view of how investments work. Okay, so I want to give you this. Okay, so we showed this yesterday at the training. Coach was laying it out. So when investing, this is something that I do want you to know, right? One, there's something called plans, and the other thing is called investments.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the difference, right? A plan is like a 401k, an IRA, a Roth IRA, a TSA. There's a type of account, but it's a college fund.
Okay.
So there's these types of things, and then an investment is like a stock.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a bond. It's like a money market. It's like a mutual fund, right? That you just mentioned to me, right? These are the things that actually move.
Yeah.
These investments are the actual things that move. The stocks, the bonds, the money markets, the mutual funds, those are the things that actually fluctuate and help you make your money. These are just shelters,
Yeah.
tax shelters. What do we mean by that? Imagine here, this is the IRS. This is the IRS. What does the IRS like to do to you?
Take money.
Take your money, tax you, right? But these guys provide shelter from the IRS getting to your money, okay? Or getting to it right away, or helps just protect your money overall. Well, how does that work? Well, in a 401k, have you ever had one before?
No.
No. Okay, so I'm gonna give you guys a definition of a 401k. So in a job, if you make, and you guys can use these examples down the road or just have this knowledge with you, okay? So down the road, you get a paycheck at a job, $1,000, right? Do you get $1,000 right away?
No.
No. What happens?
if you have 401k, they put money there. Social Security comes out.
All this stuff they take
Yeah.
out, then you get your paycheck, right? So the awesome thing of a 401k is that it's always pre. There's a key word about it. Pre-tax. What does pre mean? Before tax, right? Meaning they don't tax you right now.
Mhm.
Pre-tax means it doesn't tax you right now. That's a test question for you guys in the future. So meaning, let's say you ever heard that, I put 5% into my 401k.
Yeah.
Okay. So what that means is that this is your paycheck. Company pays you paycheck.
Mhm.
Then they're going to take out 5% for your 401k.
Mhm.
What's 5% of 1,000? $50. Boom. So that means that $50 goes into your 401k right now, right? And they're like, oh, well, they match me too. Okay, how much they match you? Up to 5%. Sometimes what company says. So that means $50 if your money goes in there,
Mhm.
and plus they add how much? $50. So now you have $100 that went into your 401k that week. Boom. There you go. And then you get your paycheck, $950, and then come all the taxes and the whatever programs and things that they take out from your check, and then you get your final check, which then is like $700 or something, $600 after all that, right? Pre-tax 401k. So now what happens though? This money wasn't taxed right now. When is it going to get taxed?
At the end of the 401k.
At the end of the 401k. When does the end of the 401k come? Retirement. When is retirement?
Around 65.
65. So now, as a young man, or in most cases, right? This is 18 years old. I mean, I draw out this graphic for people. I might have to make some more space for it, but this line here, this little rainbow thing I'm putting up here, 65. This is your income. Very low. And in most jobs, people peak around 40, 45 years old, where the money is like the highest because they've gotten to high positions, whatever it is, right? If they were to pay taxes, or when do you think their taxes are the highest? At 18, 40, or 65?
Probably 40.
Why?
Because that's the highest pay.
Right.
So they're gonna take more.
The IRS works like this. It's like a scale system. 12, 14, 18, 22, 24, 30, 28, 32%. These are your tax brackets. You guys heard of tax brackets?
Yeah, I was just about to say, don't they attack you by your tax bracket?
There you go.
Yep.
So if the more money you make, the higher you are on this tax bracket. You see how that works?
Yep.
So then the way these 401ks or IRAs work, they're the same thing. They work both pre-tax. Is that they say, we're not going to charge you taxes now. We're going to charge you taxes at this point. Because right now you might be at this tax bracket. So that means we're going to take 32% of that $100, which is $32.
Mhm.
Or we wait till you're 65 and then you start taking the money out at 65. And as soon as you start pulling money from this 401k, then that's when you can start getting taxed. But if you're not working at 65, what's your tax bracket? The lowest. Now they're taking 12%. Now they only take $12 instead of $32. So you save $20 every time they take out money. See how that works?
Mm-hmm.
That's why 401ks or IRAs.
So at the end of the 401k, so let's say I do it from 18 to 65.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say there's $65,000, just a random number.
Mm-hmm.
They would take, and I'm retired, so no job, nothing. They'll take 12. Would it be 12% taken out in the end, or would it be 12 for every $100?
It'll be 12% of everything that comes out. So if you take it all at once, it's 12% of everything that comes out.
But
If you take it out piece by piece by piece,
you could choose how you want to do it.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
That's what I was gonna ask.
yeah. So perfect. Ask all the questions. If you have a question that comes up, bring it up. That way I can answer it. Okay. So now that's how these programs work, right? So now here's a different way to do it, which is a pretty awesome way and applies to the majority of our clients, right? again, I usually have a bigger sheet of paper. I think I have a note thing back here, but if I need it, I'll use it. So there's something called Roths. You guys heard of those things?
Yes.
Okay. So what is a Roth? So a Roth is where now it's post-tax.
Mm-hmm.
What does post mean?
After.
After tax. You'll hear these terminologies on your study material, in your life stuff, and your investment stuff too. But it's post-tax now. So what it means is that you get your paycheck, and then they're going to charge you taxes and fees and all the stuff that you're going to get charged.
Mm-hmm.
Boom. Now your check is $700. They took everything they needed to take.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't take nothing from 401k. You didn't put nothing in here.
Mm-hmm.
Now this money was taxed.
Mm-hmm.
Post-tax money. Post-tax money.
Mm-hmm.
Now you put this money into your IRA. Or, well, not your IRA, sorry. Your Roth
Mm-hmm.
IRA. So if they tax you on the money now, can they tax you again later?
No.
No. There you go. So that means that once you get to 65, you get all this money tax
Free.
free. There you go. So that means that you put in $700, you get back $700. If you put in 700 and that 700 grew, and there's another awesome great thing about that Roth IRA, is that if those $700 grows to becoming $10,000, all that growth that happened inside of it, no taxes either. It's tax free as well. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
So, tax free. So this is a great vehicle to use for your clients. If you guys look up, you can always Google it because it changes every year, but you say, what is the IRA income limit every year? Okay? Because if you make over a certain amount of money, you cannot use this Roth IRA. But majority of our clients don't make more than this income amount. So the amount is roughly about $136,000, $150,000 a year is the limit on that thing. Majority of our clients don't make that money. If they do, great. Then we use one of these guys over here. We use a regular IRA.
Yeah.
But
I was just about to ask what separates, because I've always known about a Roth IRA. What separates it from just a normal IRA?
is that you get your money tax free.
Okay, so the IRA still taxes it?
A regular IRA, you're gonna pay taxes right here. Remember,
Okay.
you turn 65,
Mhm.
you're gonna get hit at your tax bracket at that time. Here, you already paid taxes because it was post-tax money.
Okay.
So that's the case.
Yeah.
So again, plans, they don't do anything. They're like looking at the shell of a car. Think of like a shell of a car. Imagine it doesn't have a motor in it. Can the car go anywhere?
No.
As pretty as it is.
It's like the project part.
Yes,
Yeah.
you can't look. Yeah. Now, what you got to do is you got the car, you got the body.
Mhm.
Now you got to go over here and pick out your motor.
Transmission.
Yeah, pick out what's gonna run inside that car.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we do. Is then take these guys, help you set up a plan, and then put these guys inside of that plan. Okay. To prepare you for the future. So now let's get into the good stuff here. 3 Ds of investment. So the first concept on here is always the best one. It's called the Rule of 72. Have you ever heard of this rule before, Mr.
Yes.
Devin? Okay. So basically, let's just say they didn't
Oh.
or whatever, or they don't understand it yet, or they're like, yeah, I get it. Whatever. Either way, I'll break it down for you. So Rule 72 is basically a rule that says if you take 72 and you divide it by the interest rate that you're getting on your money,
Yeah.
it's going to show you how long it's going to take for that money to double.
Mhm.
So for example, and I always give the clients a really easy one. If you were to get 1% on your money, right, and you have $10,000 in an account, right? So we have 10 grand inside of an account. And we want to see how long it's going to take for 10 grand, right, to become 20 grand. I can't write a 2 upside down, guys. Ta-da. But hey, I was pretty close, actually.
No. That's an S and a half.
$20,000, right? We want to see how long is it going to take for 10 grand to become 20 grand,
Mhm.
right? All you have to do is take 72 and divide it by 1. What does that equal? 72 divided by 1 will give us how many years it's going to take for our money to double. 72 divided by 1. And if somebody's like, I don't know, I'm like, get your phone and put it in the calculator.
72.
Let them verify. I always let the client verify. Can you see I'm not making up something up? I'm not being funny. Let me see.
72 divided
By
oh, shoot.
72 divided by 1. 72.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Yep. So it takes 72 years for 10 grand to become $20,000. How old are you going to be in 72 years?
90.
90 years old. Can you enjoy your money at 90 years old?
Nah.
No, that ain't going to happen.
I'm gonna be like 8 feet in the grave.
Yeah, there you go. So now, let's say that you got 3% on your money,
Mhm.
Mr. Devin. 72 divided by 3, now it gives us 24. Now our money doubles every 24 years, opposed to every 72. A little bit better. But in 24 years, how old are you?
36. Yes, 36.
So now, a little older. Well, no, you're gonna be.
Oh, 42.
There you go.
Number 4.
So now, if you were to get 6% on your money, 72 divided by 6, that gives us 12. So now in 12 years, you're gonna be 30 years old. And if you were to get 9% on your money, now your money doubles every 8 years. How old are you in 8 years?
26.
Would you rather get your money doubling every 24, 12, or 8 years?
8 years.
Okay. So that's what we're going to talk about today, because there's accounts that have been averaging that kind of return, I mean, for the last 50 years. Okay. And I'm going to show you something like that, okay? So now, when investing, Mr. Devin, this is how we always want to give people a strategy, okay? And any major financial expert that you see out there on TV, on YouTube, or whatever, any legitimate one, is going to lay out a process like this, okay? You always want to start off with a what? What is this?
Emergency account.
Emergency account, where it's for emergencies, unknown medical expenses, or major car repair. This is something you got to know. Something's always going to happen. Does something always happen?
Always.
Does something always happen?
Yeah.
Every time. So if we know something's going to happen, is it unexpected?
It's expected to be unexpected.
Okay, so but it's expected, right?
Yeah.
Something's going to happen. So if we know something's going to happen, why don't we just prepare for it? Right? And there, we always recommend that you have up to 3 months of income set aside. So let's say the person makes $2,500 a month, right? Well, how much do you make in your case?
As of right now?
Well, this number might not be too much applicable to you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Okay, no worries. You don't have to tell me anything for that. Let's just say the example of somebody who makes $3,000 a month, right? That's a fair number. Some people obviously make less than that. There's people that make a lot more than that, so on, whatever. But let's just use that number. So now, $3,000 a month. So if you have to save up 3 months, how much money is that?
$9,000.
$9,000. Boom. So that's $9,000. Great. So now, next thing is you want to set up a short-term account. Okay? Short-term account. That means up to 6 months of your income. What is it for? Reserved for unforeseen events. Again, they happen, right? Much larger ones. Loss of a job. Do people lose their jobs sometimes? Yeah. Purchase of a car, right? Don't you sometimes need your old car's busted up, they don't work no more? Or down payment for a house, right? Because if somebody saves up 6 months of $3,000, how much is that? Basically, it's double that.
Yeah, it's $18,000.
$18,000. Would you say that's pretty good down payment for a house? Could that help out? Yeah. I always tell people if they're gonna buy a house, at least have 10 to 12, at the minimum. At the minimum, that's a minimum. I recommend more, but that's at a minimum. Have 10 to 12. So $18,000 would be a good number as of now, June of 2023, right? Who knows in the future? But now, last one here is a wealth building account, where now we're looking at long-term requirement, where retirement, Roth, traditional IRAs, 401k, solo 401k, tax-deferred accounts, educational funding. Those are just examples, right, of vehicles, right, that we can use for long-term and retirement. So down the road, retirement purposes, right? So now I have a question for you. When you get to retirement, do you want to live exactly, let's say you're making $3,000 a month.
Mhm.
Would you want to live in retirement where you make less than the $3,000 a month every month? Like you have this money coming in every single month till you die. Would you want the same amount coming out, a little bit more, or a little bit less? Like how would you want your lifestyle to be when you retire? How would you want it to be?
The same or a little bit more?
So which one? The same or a little bit more?
Probably a little bit more.
A little bit more. Okay, cool. So a little bit more. So we'll say $4,000. He wants to live a life where he gets $50,000 a year. Right now he's making about 42 or 38, and then if he moves it up to 4,000, that means in retirement he wants to be receiving $50,000 a year. Okay, so why did I get that number? I'm gonna show you guys here in a second. Okay, because I want to show you how you can live a life like that. Okay, so now here we go. Let's get into the next part here. So the 3Ds of investing, what are they? One is diversification, and I always give a summary. I will give this is for the client's purpose. I'm gonna give it to them once we're done. Diversification. So one is diversifying your money. What do I mean by that? When you invest have you ever bought stock individually, Mr. Devin? Or heard of anybody who did?
Yeah, I tried to when I first turned 18, but
Okay, how'd it go?
not well because I didn't know what I was doing.
Okay.
I was trying to figure it out on my own.
Okay.
No guidance.
Okay. Well, okay, perfect. So it didn't go as well as planned, right?
Mhm.
You didn't buy a stock and become a millionaire overnight, did you?
Nah,
No? Okay, great.
figured it out instantly.
Hey, there you go, right? So, do we know which one is going to be that A-star stock? That one that's going to blow up, do we know?
No.
Most of the time we don't, right? By the time we find out that something's a good stock, it's already too late.
Mhm.
By the time we know, and everybody knows, it's already too late.
Mhm.
Once everybody's putting their money, it's too late already.
Mhm.
Everybody knows already. There's no point. Diversification. So meaning putting your money into various types of industries, right? Because if you were to put your money into, let's say Sony, put it into Exxon Mobil, you know who they are, right? The gas station.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's their corporate name, Exxon Mobil, right? Walmart and Toyota. Automatically, what can you see? What's different about these?
And they fall in different what's it called, categories of business. Like it's electronics, grocery store, or just a store in general, car company, and a gas station. Like, it's just separate.
There you go.
Category.
See that?
Yeah.
Perfect. That's what I mean by diversification.
Mhm.
Is when you invest, is that you should have a portfolio that allows you to go into multiple types of industries. Because is every industry gonna fall at the same time?
Mhm.
No, because one day, so I'll give you an example during COVID, right? What industries fell? What do you think? What's one of the industries that just took a big old dump, lost terribly, out the gate? What do you think? Everything closed, right? But what's an industry that went down? And then I'll ask you what went up.
I don't even know off the top of the head.
Okay, no worries. So, do you guys remember the gyms being open during COVID time?
No, I remember Planet Fitness closed on.
Everything closed, right?
Mhm.
Right? Well, somebody can make the argument that, well, they still had their monthly memberships.
Mhm.
Sure, these people probably still getting charged and paying, right? But don't they thrive on bringing in new people all the time
Mhm.
that come in and get new memberships and all that? And that's a major gym. Imagine the smaller gyms, right?
Mhm.
They got crushed. They got killed because nobody's there. Nobody's giving them money anymore. The trainers weren't working anymore there, right? Now, I'll give you industries that exploded. There was the healthcare industry, right?
Mhm.
And the medical industry. The medical industry blew up, right? Like, because there was a lot of places creating these vaccines or creating medicine, all this and that. Their stocks exploded. Boom. Remember people going to the store and buying tons of cleaning supplies, and you couldn't even buy hand sanitizer in that time?
Mhm.
You remember that? There's like, damn, there's no alcohol.
Mm.
Those companies exploded because people were out there trying to buy stuff, get this stuff. Stocks exploded. Huge profits, huge dividends. You guys, Zoom video conference,
Mhm.
right? Remember a lot of stuff went remote? Their stock went from $70 to $500 within 20 days. You would have bought that, you made some serious money. Ton of money.
Mhm.
But now, going back to normal. The gym stocks exploded after COVID. A ton of people went back to the gyms, right? The travel industry stocks exploded. The those went up. One that took a dump was Zoom. Now that one went backwards. Their stock is like $50 right now.
Mhm.
Terrible. Lost everything. Went back down. Right? Why? People aren't doing remote work no more.
Mhm.
So that's what I mean about being diversified, right? I know I'm kicking that horse a lot, but again, that's just emphasizing it. Discipline. Another thing is, over time, when you're investing, you just gotta, you say, I'm gonna put this money, and when is that money for?
Mhm.
What's that money for? Typically.
I'll just say, usually, like, I wouldn't say retirement, but sometime further from now, so long term.
Okay.
So
Okay.
maybe a couple years from now.
So in your case, right, your goal is this money necessarily wouldn't be for retirement purposes, right? Or would it be?
It would eventually once I finish college and everything. Just whatever, because I'm trying to start a business. If there's enough there, I would do that. If there's not, I'll just let it keep building and building. In case that stuff goes wrong, then there's something to fall back on.
Okay. So obviously you have a goal in mind,
Yeah.
right? So does that mean that you put the money in one day and take it out the next?
No.
You say, I have a goal in mind. I say 10 years, right? 28 years old. You have to build the discipline of, I'm gonna put this money in, regardless of what people are saying, regardless of what's going on in the market, regardless of what, keep pushing and putting money in there. So having the discipline, that's the next one. And the last one is dollar cost averaging. There's gonna be times where the market's gonna be really high, and then there's gonna be times where the market's gonna be very low. Okay?
Yeah.
When you buy into it, right? Sometimes you're gonna buy high, sometimes you're gonna buy low.
Mhm.
But over time, if you keep the discipline, dollar cost averaging just means that you're gonna pay a pretty average price per stock.
Mhm.
You're not really gonna pay a lot of money for it. You're not gonna pay really cheap for it. You're gonna pay an average price for it because you stayed in the market so long. And I'm gonna give you a better definition of that here in a second, okay? And what that means. So 3Ds of investing. So now, diversification, touching that topic a little bit. So these here, what these show is what the top players and the worst players were in that year for the market. So if we look in 2013, small growth stocks were at the top. They were up 43%. What's an example of a small growth stock? So an example is, think about any company that is worth between 200 million, or 100 million to the range of like 500 million is considered a small growth company. That's a small growth company. So companies that were valued that exploded in 2013. Next one is large growth stock. So that's companies that are like, imagine, Amazon.
Mhm.
You guys heard of that place, right? They were an example of that. These companies were up 14% in that year, right? But if we look down here, global bonds took a crap in 2013. What does that say? Foreign stock took a crap that year, right? Large growth stocks were up again in 2015. Emerging market stocks were taking a crap. Emerging markets, do you guys know what those are?
No one's.
Yeah, kinda. Kind of. So think about investing in, let's say we go to Mexico, right? You ever been anywhere outside the country, Devin?
No.
No? Okay, but let's go out to Africa, Mexico. It doesn't matter. And we show up to a town that's like, they don't have plumbing yet. They don't have infrastructure of lights, or maybe they do, but to an extent. Everything's very limited still. They don't have Wi-Fi. They don't have a lot of
country.
dirt road,
Somewhere around there.
in that range, right? That's an emerging market. It has room to grow. So if you come in as an investor and put money into this thing, and it grows, and the economy just starts kind of moving, and it starts returning back, that's an emerging market. We can invest in stuff like that. But that took a crap that year. Small value stocks, emerging markets did good in 2017. They went up 37%. So those were really, really good in 2017. 2018 was a terrible year. I'll show you guys why in a second. 0.01% for bonds. Everything took a crap that year. Everything lost that year. That was the only thing that made anything. Large value stock, 31% in 2019, 2020. Small growth stocks. And right below it, large growth stocks, emerging markets. Large value stocks lost that year. But that was 2020, small growth stocks. So really small companies that had like very specific niches in the market really grew that year. Large growth stocks came back in 2021. 22 was a very bad year because even large value stock, the highest thing that was returned was a -6. That was a negative. That was the best thing. And small growth stocks lost 26%. It was just a bad year for 2022. It was one of those years. Let me show you something. I think I went over something. That's it. Don't worry about this. Price of living, clients, so on. I usually don't go over that part. This right here, what I mean about, remember I was talking about discipline, investing your money? Right here, it shows that over the course, since 1937 to 2022, these are all the market years. There was 21 negative bad years, and there were 65 positive years. The chances of your money growing are much greater than losing. You see how that works? Since the stock market has been basically operating, the market has still paid an average of 10% over all that period of time. So someone's like, well, the market loses. Yeah, it does. But not always. There's more positive years than negative years. Now, here, let's look into this. One of the last final things we're going to look at here is just understanding how the market works, all right? In the market, there's going to be, you guys ever heard of a bull run in the market? No? Have you guys heard of bear markets?
I heard the term, I just don't remember the meaning.
No? Okay. So a bull market is where the market is just like that. It's just shooting straight up. Just keeps going. It keeps going. It keeps going. That's a bull market, or a bull run. That's a bull run. And then there's bear markets. It's when the market takes a dump. It's a bear market. So, see, remember all this learning is putting you to sleep, huh?
Oh, not
Now he's like, alright, no se me duerma. Okay. That's why I'm recording. You're like, okay, I missed something. So, here we go. So this line here represents a bull market, where market was consistently going up over time. And this represents a market that went down and then it went back up again. So there's two investors, right? So your investor A, right? Your investor B, right? How does it happen? So in the first month, you both invested $100. The stocks cost $10 per share. How many shares did you buy?
Oh, 10.
10. $100, you buy 10 of them, right? Next month, the market goes up. The cost per share is how much?
$12.
So you buy
Right there.
with the same $100.
Yeah.
Next month, $14. You buy that many. Next month, you buy. They cost $16. You buy 6.25. Next month, they cost $18. You buy 5.65 or 5.6. And the last month, 6 month, they cost $20. You bought 5 of them. Okay.
So the goal is to have the highest worth in stock. Well, I mean the highest like share. I mean like over the years, like when the market grows, the what's it called? The cost per one share goes up as well. I'm guessing.
Yes. Yes.
So that would like makes the money, the investment of the money go up.
So I'm gonna show you something. I'm gonna answer this question
Okay.
for you.
I don't know if I worded that weird, but
A little bit, but
Yeah.
it's okay. But I'm gonna answer it for you, right?
Alright.
I can't reword it back to you, but I can give you the answer
But-
to help you.
Yeah, you get what I'm
understand,
saying,
okay?
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me show you this, okay? So every month, the market was going up.
Yeah.
So it's like imagine buying an Apple stock.
Mhm.
1 month, the Apple stock is $100. Next month, it's $150. Next month, it's $200. Next month, it's $250. Next month, it's $350. You were putting in $100.
Mhm.
The first month, you bought how many shares of stock if they cost $100? You bought 1.
Yeah.
Next month, they cost $150. So how many did you buy?
Like 2/3 of one.
Yeah, you bought a half or something. The math isn't math in me right now. Yeah, 75%.
Just a fraction.
75% of a stock.
Mhm.
And then next month they're $200, and you put in $100. You bought half a stock, right? Your money keeps. Sure, the value of your first stock went up, but as you keep going into it, the money you're putting in buys less and less and less and less because it keeps growing, which is good, but there's also the con to it, and this is what I'm going to answer for you.
Okay.
So over time, right, over this course of 6 months, you bought 42 shares. Okay, the average cost per share was $14 on average. You put in $100, every share costs $14 on average. You put in $600, right? The value of the shares right now is $20. So if we want to find out how much money you got, we do 42 times 20. What does that equal? 42 times 20.
184.
You guys didn't give me a right answer.
I just
You're close. 84?
84.
Add your 0. 840. Yeah. All right, cool. So now you put in how much?
600.
So what is your profit?
240.
240. There you go.
And that was in the course of how long?
6 months.
6 months. Okay.
Cool. Now let's look at the fluctuating investor. So first month, they cost $100. You put in $100. It cost $10. How many did you buy? Next month, the market went down. Oh, damn. The market went down. $7. How many did you buy?
14.
Next month, it cost $4. Market went down again. How many did you buy?
25.
Next month, the market really went down.
50.
You bought 50. Now they will start going back up. And then went back up. There you go. Average cost per share was $4.76. You paid less for the stock over time. Over here, you paid $14 per share over time. Over here, you paid $5 per share over time.
What you got more?
126 shares times 10. What does that equal? That's your value right now. So how much is that?
1,760.
There you go. How much you put in? 600. What was your profit?
660.
240, 660.
Yeah. To my knowledge, when I tried doing it, first thing I looked for was the ones that showed like literally how it would go up and down, which I noticed. I was looking at like Apple and stuff. I didn't invest in Apple, but I seen like a little bit before COVID I looked at like the last 10 years, last 20, and then it was similar to this, but then it started having like a rise and then a decline. I was looking at stuff like that, but like in like smaller, like unknown companies because their
True.
share prices were super low.
True, very true, right? So this is the thing. On average, most investors over time, the average rate of return for the individual investor has been a 5% rate of return.
Yeah.
Like that's a history average.
Mhm.
Compared to the market where they've done 10. Rather get that or rather get that?
It's
Right?
Mhm.
Yeah, there's people that get lucky.
Mhm.
Yes. There's people that get lucky. Could you be one of them? Potentially, right? But you can't be basing your success on luck. I don't want to base my success on luck. If I hit one, perfect. Damn, I made a ton of money. Guys, let's go have a good time, right? I'll treat you well. We'll have a good time if you're licensed. If you're not, you can watch. You're gonna watch this video when you're already licensed, like, I'm licensed, I'm good.
Yeah.
He said it, right?
So would you say investor B is the more probable one?
This is usually this is what happens.
Yeah. So
This is what happens over
it's
time.
more realistic in the right.
If I show you an example, right? And if I need to real time, like if somebody's having an issue like of understanding what this material is, or what an investment is, what I will do is I will pull up an investment and give them a visual. If they really need a visual, I'll give them a visual, because all you have to do is if you go back to the market, I'll pull it up, right? I'll pull my stocks up. If we look into, let's say, what's a good company? What can we look at? Maybe Coke, Tesla, Meta, Zoom. I'm just gonna look up the S&P. Let's look up the S&P 500. Here we are. So let's look at it over the course of time. Do you see how it's moved over time?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So now, if you guys were to check out over time. So now let's look over the last 5 years. Do you see this?
Mm-hmm.
What is that?
COVID.
So the S&P's sitting there at 2029. It's October 2019. It's January, February 2020, 3,200. Next day, boom. You see that? 27, 25. From 3,333 down to 24. What's that drop? How many points?
You said 33 to 24.
Yeah, it's like a 800 point drop. And then what starts happening?
It rises again.
There's people who right here at this point were like, oh no, I lost all my money. All my money went down. Let me tell you something. There's something called realized and unrealized gains and losses. Realized and unrealized gains and losses. If you are realizing a loss, you can only, so let's say those stocks you said, you said you sold them, right?
No,
right?
I put the money in. Yeah.
Well, you sold them.
Yeah.
All right. Did you lose?
Yeah.
Okay. But let's say that you never sold them.
Mm-hmm.
You never sold them. And you still had them here till to this day.
Mm-hmm.
That would, and your money still went down. It was still at a negative. That would be considered an unrealized loss.
Mm-hmm.
Unrealized loss. If you pulled it out, if you never pulled it out the market and your money took a dip, it's an unrealized loss. You haven't technically lost anything, because it might pick up one day, and you'll be okay. But if you take it out when it took the dip, now what is it called? Now it's a realized loss. Now it's realized. Now you realized your loss. When you made it real once you pulled your money. That's when you really took the loss. And that's where people, when you ever hear anybody say, I lost money in the market. Okay, did you take your money out? Yeah. That's why you lost. Because there's a lot of people who are in 2020, right here, at this point, their money's going from here to here, and it takes a crap right there. there's two types of people. There's the person who was like, oh no, all my money went down, and they sold everything, and they just realized their loss. Or there's the people who were like, oh no, and they had, I can't sell this though because it went down. I don't want to take a loss right now because the market might go back up. Now it becomes an unrealized loss because they haven't took it out. They didn't took it. And they said, let me be smart about it. This has happened in the past before. Let me keep putting money in there and be disciplined and put money in there and keep putting money in there. And there's people who did and bought a bunch of stock of whatever. Let's look at, let me show you guys Primerica. If you guys go back to 2020, right here, how much is our stock right now? $192 this morning. 191, 192. In January 2020, our stock was sitting at 136, 132. Over a couple of days, it went down to $80. See that? And right now the stock's at 190. If you would have bought one stock, what would have been your profit? At $80. And it's at 190 right now.
Double.
You would have doubled your money. So somebody who was like, oh, for real? Damn. And just dumped a ton of money, they would have doubled their money. Doubled their money. Because they didn't get scared.
Yeah.
And they kept investing, even if there was a dip. That's what this is. And that's what happened in real life.
I was gonna say, as being the investor, do you get to watch? Like, how would you know if your money and stuff is going up or down?
As an investor with us,
Yeah.
You get, so if a client asked me that, right? A client asked me, well, how do I know how my money's moving? Well, two ways. You get quarterly statements, okay? You will get quarterly statements showing your movement of your money, but at the same time, you have access to see your money any day and every time. If you log in online, to look at it every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember, what's the point of investing this money? This money is not, if the purpose is for you to try to use it in like 2 weeks, in 2 months, I'll be like to just put it in your savings account. If that's the case, because this isn't an account for like day traders.
Yeah. This
is not that. This is not a buy a stock and flip it the next day kind of deal. That's not what we're doing here. If anybody thinks that, if you had that thought in your mind, if you have that thought, that's not what this is.
Yeah.
This is a long-term hold to help your money grow over time. So now, give you the last visual. So this right here, this awesome graph, it lays out all the catastrophic events that have happened over the years to the market. 1987, the market crashed. In 1987, it was called Black Thursday or Black Friday, actually. The original Black Friday or something.
It was Black Friday.
Talk to Mark. He was there. He's an associate of mine.
The other guy?
Yeah, he's 70 years old. He was a trader. Like, he was working at a stockbroker floor in 1987. Like, he was there. He was a young guy doing that stuff back then. 1989, ExxonMobil, they dropped freaking oil in the ocean or something. That was bad. Here, Russian...
Debt default.
Yeah, something happened with Russia. Y2K, ask your parents about this. Ask them, they'll know. Back in 2000, 1999, right at the new year, what was happening? And they'll tell you. People were going crazy. They said the world was going to end. They said that all the power was going to shut off. The computers were going to shut off, and all the missiles were going to fire off, and the world's going to end. Because we're going to switch from the 90s into the 2000s. Talk to them. They'll tell you something like that. Tech bubble. So in the late 90s, the internet had came out. So there was a ton of internet companies everywhere. They're like, hey, buy this, buy that. That's where PayPal, Google, a lot of these major companies, Amazon, all these popped out at that time. Those are the survivors. Tell them later. But there was a ton of companies that came out of it, and people were putting money into them, and then they find out like, damn, your company's BS. Your company's BS. And a ton of companies got exposed, and the whole market took a crap because all these companies were facades. 2001, you guys remember that?
No.
Well, you guys weren't here for that yet, right? No. I remember I was in K4, K5. I was sitting in class. They roll up one of those TVs on a stand. They still had those when you guys went to school, or no? Oh, okay. So then they turn all the lights off. I see the teachers like scared. I see one of them crying. I'm like, what the heck's going on? And they show TV and the plane crashing into a tower. I'm like, the heck are they showing us? What is this? Right?
Mm-hmm.
And they sent us home that day, like something crazy, right? 2007, 2008. You guys heard about that, right? That's when the whole market house crashing happened and all that. So the market took a dip there. S&P downward U.S. debt. So there was a problem with the debt. It took a dip. 2018. That's when the government closed. That's why the market did so bad that year, because the government closed. 2020. COVID-19. Ta-da! There was a dip. But then you see what happens? And then 2022, the market, once this update's gonna show like a dip right here, and then 2023, something like that. Was there downs
Yeah.
and ups? But do you see the spiral
Yes, more ups.
like that? And that's 30 years right there. See that? So, do you understand investing a little bit better now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. At the end of this portfolio, there's a little questionnaire that I have for clients, right? This is how we determine how we're gonna invest for them. So the questionnaire goes like this. So it's gonna ask this, what is your goal of this investment? One is you want growth, to have my principal balance grow over time. Growth in income, to have some principal growth and time as well as provide current income. Or 3, income to generate and provide income. So growth and have my principal balance grow over time. What does that mean is that I have $100, I want that $100 to become $300. That's exactly what this means. 2 is growth and income. So same thing, I want some of that money to be able to grow, but I also want to have income, meaning that I want this investment to pay me out dividends. I want this investment to pay me money right now while I'm still here, right? Or I want it purely for income. I want it to generate money. What would you say you want? What is the goal of this account? And I always ask them, and then let them designate what they want. Now, depending on what they pick, I'm gonna give them an idea of what's gonna happen, right? So, give me an idea, or give me a choice here, Devin.
2.
2? Okay. So, growth and income. Okay. This is what I'm gonna tell you about that. We have accounts that pay dividends and all that stuff, right? But to see any significant payout, like the dividends that you're gonna get on these things are most likely, they're roughly gonna be in the cents.
Okay.
Meaning we'll be sending you checks or giving you deposits of 50 cents here, $1 there, kind of thing. Because we have accounts that pay income, but most of the time these people have $250,000 in there, $300,000, $500,000 in there.
Yeah.
Because now the dividends come in checks of $1,000, $2,000, like something you can actually live off of. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with what you're saying, right? It's just not gonna be aggressive, and it's not gonna help your balance grow quick.
Okay. Which one would you say would be the best then?
In your case, we'd go here.
Yeah.
Right? Because unless you have a huge sum of money that you plan to deposit, then sure, then maybe I don't know something. Maybe he has $100,000. I don't know, right? Maybe his daddy loves him, or maybe he did win on the stock game and has a bunch of money. Then I'm wrong. I should have asked that.
I would say for investing wise, I do got a little, like a small thousand savings.
Oh, okay.
But it's nothing like
100
quarter
Gs?
million.
No. Oh,
we
okay.
ain't up there. That's crazy.
I was like, maybe he has $100,000. So, all right. So then the next question is, okay, when do you plan to take the money out of this account? more than 7 years, 3 to 7 years, or within 3 years?
More than 7.
More than 7 years. Okay, great. So what level of risk can you accept? How comfortable are you with any loss of principal over time? Meaning, how comfortable are you with these fluctuations that happen in the market? Very comfortable, medium, low. What would you say?
I would say I'm comfortable with the fact that I know it could go up or down.
Where would you say you are? 1, 2, or 3?
But probably number 1.
Number 1. Okay. High and comfortable. So now it gives me a chance to look into aggressive portfolios. So we have a matrix of portfolios, and I have some aggressive growth ones.
So it's like the type of investment.
Type of portfolio that I'm gonna provide to him.
Okay.
I'm gonna show him an example because on the back of this pamphlet, there's a growth portfolio attached to it. So I'm gonna show you that one right now. But then I also have an aggressive growth one that I can show you as well. Okay. So now, this is a bunch of data, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. These are the type of mutual funds that we have, all that good stuff. This for you to look into. You can have this. It's gonna be for you. But now this is an actual portfolio that we have. It's one of those growth portfolios where this specific investment over the last since this account was opened back in 1970. This portfolio was started back in 1970. Since it's been open, it's paid an average of 10.23% inside of it. In the last 10 years, it has paid 10%. In the last 5 years, it's paid 9.5%. In the last 3 years, it's paid 14%. In the last year, it did a negative 10%. Why? Last year was a bad year. But it was, just look at it, one of those years where it took a dip and you were putting money into it, you would have bought the high. You would have rode it up to the high. So now this specific portfolio, now you're gonna start seeing some stuff. It's invested in companies like Microsoft. It's invested in Apple. It's invested in Berkshire Hathaway. You guys heard of that place? No? You guys heard of Warren Buffett? Okay, one of the best investors, smartest investors ever in the history of the world. He owns Berkshire Hathaway. Berkshire Hathaway is a major investment firm which invests in stocks themselves. So you own a piece of that investment portfolio too. You what is that? Alphabet, which is Google. Visa, you guys heard of that guy before?
Yeah.
Right? United Healthcare Group, JP Morgan Chase, right? Morgan Company, Amazon, TJX, which is all the TJ Maxx companies, right? TJ Homes, all those stores that people go to, right? So it's a portfolio. These aren't all the stocks inside of it. This is the top 10. There's roughly about 200 plus companies inside this portfolio. Where once you put money in here, gets invested amongst all these companies. Okay. So now, I told you something in the beginning. I said how much you would want to live off of when it comes to retirement. You said $4,000, right? At what age would you want to retire? And I'm gonna give you guys this last formula. So if somebody asks, like, we always want to give people, like, show them value. This is a great way to show them value because this is not common knowledge, right? It's not something that's like just thrown out there and have a conversation about with people. Like you have to know a little bit about finances for you to formulate this number. It's not a hard calculation, but you just gotta figure it out. So there's an app I recommend you guys download. It's called Compound Calculator. Compound, you can download it right now.
Yes.
Compound Calculator, download it. It's great for
This one?
Yep, that one.
Interest calculator?
Yep, that's it.
Steve, what's up, bro? What's up?
Okay, so now, that being said, he said, at what age, okay, now I want to find out, well, at what age would you want to retire?
No,
What age? Give me a number.
50.
50, okay.
Who locked the door?
Between 25,
You have keys for that office? Anything?
this door? No, I
Yeah.
don't. Sorry, bro. So now, 50, you said 50, right? So how many years between now and 50? What is that, 32?
Yeah, 32.
32. Okay, so that means we have 32 years to work with, right? So he said he wants to live off of $4,000 a month, right? So because he wants to live a little bit better. So my formula, this is how I give him this number. I want to figure out how much money does Mr. Devin need to save up every single month so he can get to a point where he has this large sum of money where he can live off of for the rest of his life. This is the formula that you guys do. So first of all, you want to determine when he wants to retire. He told me 50. So I got the number 50, right? That's the first thing. The next thing is, how many years do I got to that point? 32, right? And I already have the number of how much he wants to live off of, which is $4,000. So what I do is, I want to find out the number that it would take for him to. So this is the formula I want to figure out. So let's say that he wants to live off of $50,000 a year. So that means that I need to save up enough money. So I'd say, first I'm gonna play with it real quick. So it's $1 million times 5%. That's 50,000. There you go. That's $50,000. So what I do is that I'm gonna get a number that can generate roughly about 5%. That gives me his annual number. So what am I trying to say? His goal is 50,000 a year. So I need to figure out what number generates out 50%. What generates 5% or equals out like that. So in this case, it's $1 million. I'm not finding the right words to tell you guys here right now, but $1 million, 5% would give me $50,000. Right? So let's say it's a little different. Let's say that he wants to live off of $10,000 a month. So how much is that a year? 120. So what do we have to do? We have to figure out what number 5% generates out from $120,000 a year. So that roughly, what would that number be? I'm not sure off the top of my head. Times 5%. Okay, that's 250,000. Oh, was that it? There we go. There you go. So that's 2.5 million. 2.5 million that he would have to save up if he's trying to pop out 10 grand a month. Why do I use that number? Because there's accounts that generate. Remember I said if you have enough money, there's accounts that will pay out a certain amount of money every single month. Right? They'll pay out a certain amount of money every single month. So some of those, they can range between the 5 to 10% that they pay out every single month, depending on how much money you have. So I just play with the lowest number, 5%. So he wants 50 grand a year. So now what's next? $1 million. So now with this compound calculator, I want to find out. So first of all, how much would you start with? How much would you set aside? Like what can you start an account with, Mr. Devin?
Like just as like one time or like over.
One time deposit right out the gate. Something you're comfortable with.
Say like
You can make it up if you don't.
200.
$200. Okay, cool. He starts with $200. Let's say my annual rate of return is 9%. Right? We have duration is 32 years. So now the last number I have to play with here is I have to get that number to $1 million. So I just had, let's say $300. It wasn't 300. So it's $400 Almost there. 450. Ta-da. So that means he would have to set aside $450 a month to get to $1 million in 32 years. So that way he can live off of $50,000 a year till he dies. And not touch the $1 million. Not even touch it. Then when he dies, he still lives $1 million. And he lives off of this. And if he ever needs to touch this, he still has access to touch the $1 million. But just off of interest, you live off of the $1 million. Just on interest. Just on interest. And won't even touch this $1 million.
Crazy.
Would you want a plan like that, Mr. Devin? Where your family still gets all the money you saved up, right? And you can live off of this money, which is a little bit better than you're living now when you retire.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like it.
Okay, great. So this is the strategy. We have to set aside $450 a month for the next 32 years for you able to get that. Now, if he tells me, well, I want to retire sooner, right? Or if he would have said, well, I want to retire at 65.
Yeah.
Okay. The formula is different now because now it's 65 minus the 18 years old. How long is that? What's the math on that, guys? What do you think? Or what do you know?
That's like
It's a simple math problem. I'm not mathing rest now.
40.
This is gonna be fun for the video. Someone's gonna be laughing like, bro, you guys don't know how to do math over there.
45. Wait, I'm at 47.
Yeah, 47 years, right? So we're like, okay.
It's hard to do it now, right?
Yeah. So that means that for him to hit his goal, he would, if he's like, well, I want to do it at 65. Okay, cool. You just gotta put away $120 a month. $120 a month. He's like, well, I want to retire at 65. Now your number is $120 a month, opposed to $450. Well, Devin's like, well, I want to retire at 35. Okay. Or let's play it simple. 36. 18 years from now. So now we switch this number to we switch the number to 18. So now we're like, well, how much does he have to set aside? Let's say it's $1,000 a month. Nope. $2,000 a month. There you go. You'd have to set aside $2,000 a month for the next 18 years. And at 36 years old, you'd be able to retire. Now the new formula is, well, how do I make $2,000 a month to save every single month?
That falls on me.
Then there you go. I give you a formula, so you can build this number. Your job is to give somebody that number. That's the math. People are like, I don't like the math. This is the hardest math we'll do here. I promise. This is the hardest formula we'll do. Did it seem difficult? No. And if you walk through the recording, right, you'll be able to see what I did. Okay? So, pretty straightforward. Ta-da. And that's how you retire. Perfect.